So, welcome to lesson 6.1, choosing the right structure for your book. Readers need you to guide them through your ideas. They need a logic and a structure. You need it too when you're working on your book in order to get through it in the most logical, rational, easy way possible. So, let's talk about what that means. First, I just wanted to run you through some of the archetypal structures, the most common approaches, because there are probably 8 or so that you'll see time and time again. So there's the solution-driven approach, where you have present a problem, present the cause, and then work through the solution. There's the principle-based solution. I'm thinking here about books like Good to Great, which run through a series of principles that are around a common proposition. There are the step-by-step process is incredibly popular. Things like 5 love languages or 5 dysfunctions of a team. Anything with a number in it is probably a step-by-step process. There's the essay-like structure with many short chapters. And this is things like rework or how to win friends and influence people. There's the persuasive narrative, and people like Malcolm Gladwell and Adam Grant gravitate towards that kind of a structure. Memoir-driven books often simply take a chronological approach, so books like Shoe Dog. And then there's case study books, things like the $1 Billion Brand Club, which just step through different case studies. So, you've got a shopping list there to choose from, but how do you choose? And this is where I'm going to throw it across as a question to Lari. How do you choose?
I'm going to read a quote from Michael Lewis, who is a best-selling author. He wrote Moneyball, The Big Short, and a variety of other best-selling books. And he wrote, I agonize over structure. I'm never completely sure I got it right. And whether you sell the reader on turning the page is often driven by structure. So structure is a challenge. It's something every writer wrestles with. And even if you've written more than one book, it's not quite like voice. If you've written a couple of books, by your third book, you might have a pretty good sense of what your authentic writing voice is, we hope. But structure is different for every single book. I always come back to 2 things. One is, what does your content demand? And what does your reader need? Sally, what are some other examples that you can think of where the structure of a book might really be based on the needs of the audience?
So here I'm thinking about books where that are designed to persuade, where you are pretty sure that a lot of your readers won't necessarily agree with you. Maybe you're presenting a new way of looking at a time-old problem. So I'm thinking about things like Adam Grant's book, Give and Take, which is about why helping others drives our success. Now, it's counterintuitive, so he had to really step out his proposition in a very thoughtful, persuasive way. He couldn't launch into the core of his ideas straight away because he had to persuade. So that's where just knowing, are people already on board with me and just looking for an enhancement, or do I need to bring them onto my side first? That can have a huge impact on how you structure your book.
You can look to the nature of the content to help guide you. So for instance, if you are writing a big idea book, as Sally brought up Adam Grant, or Good to Great, right? Those are big, meaty ideas. It's hard to write that kind of a book in 2 to 3 page chapters. There's just not enough space to fully develop the idea, to support the ideas that you're sharing, or to explain them, to really get into them. When you're digging in on big, meaty ideas, more than likely you're going to be structuring your book around longer chapters. Books that are highly practical and prescriptive, where they're really explaining how to do something very specific, like network better on LinkedIn. Those books tend to have shorter chapters as well, because you don't want to overwhelm the reader with too much to do, or too many ideas to absorb all at once.
For me, one of the other questions is, am I trying to explain really complicated ideas and principles, or is my intention to simplify things for the reader? Because depending on whether I'm trying to create the definitive book on a particular subject, or something that's more of a gentle introduction or breaking it down, that's going to influence the structure in my mind.
Agreed. Yeah. Along the same lines is, do I want the content to seem approachable or weighty? Do I want it to seem simple or comprehensive? One issue to solve when you're thinking about your structure is, how are you keeping readers reading your book all the way through, or reading most of your book? How are you structuring the content in a way that is feeding information to them in a way that they want it and need it, and not making them feel frustrated, but that keeps them going, that keeps them moving through?
Right. Because let's face it, a lot of readers will pick up your book, dip into it, read a couple of chapters, and they'll set it aside. I mean, I do that myself.
Yeah.
So, but you don't want to waste this great content, these amazing ideas that you've spent so much time developing, only to lose people because of the structure. So that's, I think, one of the most compelling reasons to really give it some thought and try and find the right way to present those ideas.